For the first time ever, I am thrilled to say we have an official sponsor for the Dirt Talk podcast, and that's Ariat. I've worn Ariat boots on every job site I've visited over the years, traveling in them across 5 continents. More importantly, I have yet to find a single project where working folks, unlike me, are not wearing Ariat boots and workwear in every condition imaginable. And there's really good reason for that, and that's because it's phenomenal stuff. And the more I've learned about Ariat and the company, the more I've loved their brand. So with this, Ariat is offering any Dirt Talk listener 10% off their next Ariat order at ariat.com/dirttalk. That's 10% off boots, jeans, and workwear at ariat.com/dirttalk or at the link in this episode's description. With that, let's get to the show.
Yeah. The Con Expo side is, so it's a gauntlet from the standpoint of just being there and taking it all in, but from like our side of the world. I've been to Con Expo before with a dealer, which was cool. I mean, you go out and you meet up with customers, you do dinners, you do lunches, you go out, you have some drinks, and then you go back and you sleep. And then you wake up and you go to the show and kind of mosey around. Yeah. From the manufacturer side, so 2020, I started in March of 2020, so right in the middle of Con Expo. So I didn't make that show.
Really?
No.
You started with MTS in 2020? Oh.
Yeah, March. Actually, I think April 6th. So coming up here will be 5 years, but.
Okay.
20
that's a unique time to change careers.
Yeah.
April 2020.
It was especially going from living in Madison, Wisconsin and having a territory that I could drive in to joining a company where a lot of your travel is flying. Sure. And we should talk about that. It's interesting stuff. But 2023 Con Expo was my first one with MTS and with the manufacturer. Mm-hmm. And it's like sun up, sundown in the booth. You get there in the morning, you vacuum, you clean stuff up, you make sure that fingerprints are wiped down and everything. And just constant flow of customers coming in. Mm-hmm. And then we have a meeting room there too, this big glass box basically. And so we had meetings set up throughout. So then you're trying to filter in like these heavy hitters while you're also trying to keep people outside somewhat entertained too. Sure. And by the time it's over, the doors close. It's like, well, shit, we got to get to the Venetian for dinner now. Mm-hmm. We got to go to the Palms and meet this customer. So you do dinners, and then, you go out and have a few drinks after that. And then it's just a gauntlet, man.
It is a gauntlet, but I do really enjoy it because it you can, like you were saying, travel. Like it takes a lot of energy to go see each one of these customers. Mm-hmm. But if you can talk to 43 of them in 1 week, you're condensing so much relationship building, conversations. Like it does save you. It doesn't make it easier, but it does save you a lot. Like,
oh yeah,
it's in your best interest to full send that week.
Yes,
because it does allow you to get pretty far ahead. I feel like.
Yeah, you can see a year's worth of customers in 4 days.
Yeah,
you won't get that anywhere else.
No.
So it is a pretty incredible opportunity to do that, and it's funny because the levels of customers that you see day to day. That on a Thursday in October is like the biggest thing you have going on that entire month. Mm-hmm. At Con Expo, they might walk into your booth and you have this, this Kiewit size customer or Kiewit themselves in your glass box. And this mid-level contractor comes in and you almost feel bad because it's like, awesome to see you. I'm glad you're here. But I got to get in that room right now because we're talking about this big project or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
So it is a little frustrating at times for that fact, but it is an incredible opportunity to get all of your biggest players in the same room, though.
I think that's Based on what I've heard, that's the value, is just the people there. It allows you to see so many people. It's a great time. All the shows, and then creating our own show, it allows us to basically see our customers once a year now, which has been great. We've somewhat turned everything upside down with that one. But yeah, it's like connecting with people. This is a world that wins on handshakes still. I know there's a lot of lawyers and a lot of contracts trying to ruin it, and they have in a lot of ways. But at the end of the day, it's still very much shaking hands, building relationships, building trust. And then, all right, let's see what you can do for us.
Yeah, it's one of the last true handshake industries out there. Like,
I think so. Yeah,
that doesn't exist. And I haven't spent a lot of time in any other industry aside from construction and equipment, I guess. But I don't think a lot of other industries you can, take someone's word on a handshake.
Sure.
You
can't take everybody's word. But.
Not everybody. You got to be careful. But you're right, though. The more bureaucracy that comes into it, the more attorneys, the more red tape, definitely chops things up a little bit. But,
yeah. What brought you to MTS?
So it's kind of a funny story. So I'm a true believer that everything happens for a reason. And so our owner is CJ Moyna and Sons. They're general contractor out of Iowa.
Yeah.
When I graduated high school, I grew up with a friend. His name was Justin Augustine. You know Justin.
Yeah.
And his uncle had a construction company. And Justin and a couple of my friends were looking at going to work for CJ Moyna and Sons for summer work before college started. And so I had applied in 2005, 2006, just to run like a support tractor. So, a disc, a roller, a box, whatever it might be. And I didn't get the job. And I had a friend, someone else I grew up with, her dad owned a construction company, a crushing company called Kuhlman Construction. And he said, hey, why don't you come work for me? You can come be an operator in my quarries for the summer. So I thought, awesome, that sounds like a great idea. And I went and worked in rock quarries for about 5 years. So during the summers, I'd work in the quarries. And then during college, throughout the school year, I'd still work some, time off and holidays and stuff. But, that's how I worked my way through college, was being an operator.
Where'd you go to school?
Loris College in Dubuque, Iowa.
Oh, nice.
Yep. And so while I was working at Kuhlman, running the heavy equipment, I didn't know what, we talk about college. I don't even know what I was going to college for. I just knew I need to get a 4-year degree. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I'm glad that swing is finally changing a little bit, and people are seeing more benefit just in a trade school or no college at all. Quite honestly, you can get a great job without a college education.
Yeah.
But I was about 2 years in, and I started to really think about, what do I want to do? And the heavy equipment was super interesting for me. And I thought, well, shit, I like sales. I like talking to people. Growing up, I pumped gas at my family's gas station, washed the windows, checked the tires, and all that.
Yeah.
And I loved talking to the people. And my mom always told me, she said, you'd be a great salesman. So I was like, well, I guess sales would be kind of cool. And so yeah, I started calling the numbers on the side of the pieces of construction equipment. Started calling the dealers. And I didn't know anything about it. But calling around and saying, hey, I want to sell Caterpillar equipment. I want to sell Volvo equipment. And one day the Volvo sales rep came into our quarry. And it was always the thing, if someone you don't know pulls into the quarry, stay in your truck. Direct them towards the foreman.
Sure.
You don't know who it is. And so this fancy Buick pulls up, and this guy gets out, and he's got dress pants on, and he's got like dress shoes, and he pulls a hard hat out and he puts this shiny hard hat on and he's like tucking his pants in his boots.
Nice.
Just did not seem like he fit. And he was afraid, we're like walking around the crushing equipment and we're not afraid of the big loud noises. And he's got the earplugs just barely in his ears. And I was like, who is this guy? So he goes and he talks to my foreman. And a little while later, a brand new Volvo wheel loader showed up at the quarry. And I asked my foreman, I said, who was that guy that was here? Like, just does not seem like he should have been here. And he's like, oh, that's the Volvo salesman. We're demoing a new L220. And he just wanted to stop by and see how things are going. I was like, oh. He goes, he makes a lot of money. I said, oh, really? And I said, I bet I can do what he does, and I can fit in better too. I can talk to the operators. I can talk to the foreman. I'm not afraid to be around a rock crusher.
Sure. Was it the Buick that really got you, though?
It was.
Yeah, man.
Like, what are you doing with that thing?
Oh, yeah.
Get out of here.
A living room on wheels,
yeah,
those things.
Absolutely. It was like the salesman's car. It was either a Suburban or a Buick, it seemed like.
That's like the my dad, he's from Lincoln, Nebraska. Mm-hmm. And he would say the wealthy people always had Buicks. That was like the gold standard.
Oh, yeah.
And so
it's a status car.
Well, he was very excited, too, when Tiger Woods started promoting Buick back in the day. He was a spokesperson for Buick. Yeah, but anyway.
Then maybe he wasn't so excited about it. But, it was a status symbol, no doubt. But so I kind of started leaning towards that way, and I was getting close to graduation, and I'd finally worked my way into the sales manager of the Volvo dealer, and I thought I had done it all on my own, but come to find out after the fact that the owner of our company had also put in a good word for me. But it's such an unspoken rule in construction, like you don't hire away from your customers or people that you work with.
Yeah.
And especially back in, 2008, 2009, it was something you didn't do. But the sales manager had talked to the owner of our company, and he's like, yeah, he's a good worker, hard worker. And so he gave me kind of a good bill there. But so I started working at the Volvo dealer, and at the time they didn't have any sales positions open. Mm-hmm. And I said, I don't care. I'll sweep the floors. I'll clean equipment. I'll organize the yard, whatever you need. And so that's where I started. They gave me a spreadsheet of discombobulated equipment that was spread through Cedar Rapids, Ankeny, and Omaha. Like, we need to straighten this stuff out, figure out where it's all at. So that's kind of where I started there. And about 6 months later, I had worked my way into that exact sales rep's position with that Volvo dealer. I shadowed him for a little bit, and then he actually had moved on. I think he moved back to Missouri, but I took his position covering my home territory.
It's hard. I haven't really fully appreciated how hard it is to get a good sales job at a dealership. Mm-hmm. It's pretty tricky because it's a really good gig, I've learned.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to be a sales rep at a top dealership, whatever brand it is, you're not just walking in and becoming a sales rep.
No.
Like, those guys, they guard those positions, and they hold them for sometimes decades, these guys.
Oh, for sure.
Like, certain accounts, like, yeah, he's been doing it for 32 years. He's got his accounts. He makes his money. Life's good.
They hold them after they leave. Like,
yeah.
There's so many like corporate account reps that even after they retire, it's hard enough to get them to retire, but even after they do, they're still like getting breakfast with the same people. Mm-hmm. They're still catching lunch with these guys. They become their friends.
Yeah.
And it's just what they know.
Yeah.
But yeah, in a lot of dealers, it's I'm not gonna say a prestigious role, but it is a high ranking role.
It's sought after.
Mm-hmm.
But and when people ask me how do I become a sales rep at one of these equipment brands, I'm like, get a job at the dealer, do whatever you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
If you're working parts counter, if you're organizing the warehouse, if you're washing machines, like,
Yep.
Just
rental counter.
Rental counter. That's a great place. Parts runner. You know, there's so many different positions that like they want to skip. They want to jump to whatever that step is, or it's like people want to go. I want to be an equipment operator. It's like, well, you got to spend some time on the ground first, especially if you're in something like pipe or something like that. It's not in your best interest to go right to the machine. You're actually better off in the ditch learning the fundamentals of pipe laying so that when you do go to that machine, you can better support the crew.
Yep.
It's the same thing at a dealership. Like, you're better off understanding how the dealer works before you go to that sales position.
Absolutely.
It's just a lot of people want to try to skip the basics, but it's like, you're the first person that loses in that scenario. I feel like. Yeah.
You degrade yourself before you even get a chance to, prove yourself in that position.
Yeah.
And there's no better way to understand what you need to be doing than working your way through the positions to get, to that level, because you don't truly understand what those people are even doing.
No, and there's like two sides to it. One, you have to understand the customer and the customer's needs, but then two, you have to understand how the dealer works, because to serve that customer, you've got to understand how new machines are ordered, new machines are allotted and allocated, how parts come into the business, how parts are ordered, how parts are allocated. Like there's so many, how deliveries work, how rental works. There's how warranty works. Like, there's all kinds of stuff that you need to understand. All these little tools you got to learn to then apply to the customer.
Yep.
In whatever situation they need help with.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's something that's cool about the CAT, I guess, program as far as like dealer principles go. I've talked to several, and it seems like the way to work into that position is working through different levels of the dealership.
Yeah, they require it.
Yeah, which I think is awesome. It's a great format to build off of, because it gives you that true on the job training. It gives you the experience of understanding all that.
You can tell who at the executive level or at the third generation level, second generation level, whatever it is, has spent time in the business and who hasn't. It's glaring. Yes. It's so obvious, because it just gives you this next level understanding and humility that's just not there if you haven't really spent time in the trenches, so to speak. And I think that's the more I've understood about how, like, I don't think, this might be controversial, like, I don't think what's made Caterpillar so successful over the past few decades is the equipment. I think that's important. You have to have a great product.
Yep.
But it's the dealer network and how they've protected the dealer network and supported the dealer network.
Yeah.
And the succession planning within the dealer network is remarkable. It is so buttoned up. It is so effective. It has a very good hit rate. Like, every once in a while it doesn't work out, but
for the most part
it works pretty damn well.
Yep.
And like, that is like, the dealers are Caterpillar. Like, the equipment, all right, cool. But like, we were talking, you go to Con Expo, or maybe I was talking about this with somebody else yesterday. It's like, all the machines are good. Like, all the excavators are really good. Like, all the loaders, really good. All the trucks, really good. Like, everything's good now. It's not like this is just so far beyond from a performance standpoint. It's not even funny. Like, maybe Caterpillar, like high track dozers, for example. All right. Yeah, you guys have that one. Like, you've got that one cornered. But like, there's not that much else out there that's like, this brand head and shoulders above the rest. But that support, that dealer network, and what they've done from an infrastructure and dealer standpoint is just indisputable. Everybody knows it. And it's so hard to compete against.
Everybody knows it, and everybody wants to be it.
Yeah.
The even crazier part about it is, you go from dealer to dealer in the U.S., and you see a lot of that. We have a dealer in Australia, William Adams, and it's just the same platform. It's just in Australia. Like they still have the same level of service and support.
Yep.
They still run through the same programs. Like it's a commonality that Caterpillar's created. It's like going to a McDonald's in Iowa and going to one halfway across the world and it's the same cheeseburger.
Yeah.
Like just by having that commonality gives people comfort in it, but it also gives them confidence that if this machine breaks down, I'm going to get the parts and service that I need as quickly as possible to get back up and working.
William Adams is one of the coolest stories out there of any cat dealer in the world.
Yeah.
Have you heard about the like former principal there? I don't know why I'm drawing on his name. Why am I drawing on his name?
The Elphinson?
Yeah, Dale.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a fitter.
Yeah.
But that was his life goal, was to own a cat dealership. And he was like, when I last talked to him, he's like, I would have moved anywhere in the world for a cat dealership.
Yeah.
But they gave me the one right in my backyard. I was like,
remarkable.
This is meant to be, man. Like
yeah.
You start working at the dealership as a mechanic, as a fitter, bottom level, and you end up owning the delership, which is just
there's no success story like that out there.
That's one of the coolest stories I've heard. It's and he's still just he's kind of like a John in a way.
Yeah.
Like building equipment and
still into it.
They're still building stuff in Tasmania, underground graders, underground concrete trucks, underground, all kinds of wacky stuff.
He's kind of transitioned into just the Elphinson brand though, right?
Yeah.
More so?
Yeah, his son is now dealer principal, I believe.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he hasn't been dealer principal in a while, I don't think.
Yeah.
But anyway.
No, that's awesome. I want to go to Tassie, as they call it. I want to go to Tasmania.
It's like, have you been to Central Coast of California?
Yeah.
Like Big Sur, San Luis Obispo. It's like Central Coast of California without California.
Sounds pretty good.
it's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. Anyway.
I was in Melbourne 2 years ago now. July will be 2 years, and with William Adams. And the next time that I do go over there, I want to make that part of the trip too.
Yeah,
you're right there.
Yeah,
you might as well.
Yeah, it's well worth the trip. Yeah,
but no. So flowing through to MTS, so I got on with the Volvo dealer, got into the sales side, and by then, Mobile Track Solutions had already become a brand. And John Moyna, our owner, and Justin Augustine, the same high school friend I had growing up, we're now like getting MTS off the ground. And I want to say it was probably maybe 2012 era, somewhere in there. And we had talked about me coming over to MTS to be one of the first salesmen for the company. Because where I grew up in Guttenberg, Iowa, is 20 minutes from the factory. So John's all about, hometown people, giving people a good career close to home.
Corn-fed, Midwest boys.
Corn-fed, yep, absolutely. Just keeping people close to home and giving them, good opportunities. That's like at the core of what he does. And I turned it down. I said, sounds cool. Sounds like a fun opportunity, but I'm selling Volvo equipment, really liking it.
You got a Buick, life doesn't get any better, man.
Right. By then, the F-150 was pretty damn cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was working out well. And, it was such a strange thing because it was this huge opportunity, but still I was pretty comfortable where I was at too. But so working through that, I left Volvo, and my wife and I moved to Madison, Wisconsin. My wife, Brittany, got a job. She graduated from the University of Iowa and got a job at the UW hospitals in Madison. And so we moved up there. And I went to the dealers. I went to the Volvo dealer. I went to the Cat dealer. I went to the John Deere dealer. And I got some job opportunities that were there, but even more intriguing was Iron Planet and Ritchie Brothers were both hiring for a Wisconsin territory rep. And so I had spent 5 years at the Volvo dealer. And so I thought, I got a good taste of the dealership level. Like maybe I should learn the used equipment side and spend some time in that arena. So I signed on with Iron Planet for the entire state of Wisconsin and the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And less than 30 days later, and Iron Planet they were going to be going public.
Yeah.
And that was part of the lure too, to sign on. There were stock options and different things that made sense. And the day that they were going to announce they were going public, they actually announced that they were being acquired by Ritchie Brothers.
Yeah, they snuck in there and we'll take that, please.
Plucked them for like 700 some million.
Which was a hell of a play with Ritchie Brothers. Like that was one of the more savvy. I mean, they've done a lot of savvy things, but that was a savvy move. Because that teed them up for...
Yeah, it gave them the online platform.
Yeah, where they are, like, their timing was pretty good.
Yeah, it was impeccable, too, with the upcoming COVID crisis.
Yeah.
But at the time, Iron Planet year over year was growing, by hundreds of millions of dollars. And they were projected to hit the $1 billion mark. Subsequently, Ritchie Brothers had been a $4 billion company steadily for like 10 years, but it was still the same numbers.
Yeah.
And so, IP was quickly gaining on their market, and they had tried some online platforms, but it wasn't working out.
Yeah. So at that point, Ritchie Brothers was really, let's get a bunch of equipment, let's put it in a yard, let's sell it to people. Mm-hmm. And if you're bidding on it, you got to be there.
Yep.
You go, you show up. It's like an all day affair. You go look at the machines,
inspect it.
Yeah, look through your booklet. All right, we need to go look at loader 1273.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's actually a pile of shit. All right, let's look at 1279. Oh, this is actually all right. Let's bid on this one.
Yeah, you get in it and you raise the bucket up and down. Like that's going to tell you the service history.
Yeah.
That's a strong piece right there.
Yeah. This is we found it, boys.
This is it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then your wife is giving you a budget for the day that you're probably going to surpass anyway. And then you go sit in the orange chairs.
Yeah.
And they run stuff through.
Bid catchers, auctioneers.
Yeah, it's pretty it was pretty traditional auction house.
Yeah.
At that point.
It was an event.
Yeah. And it still is, but then you had the online space, which was let's go find a bunch of equipment, but we don't need all of the infrastructure required to really house the equipment. Like it's not at a big event. We're just going to go invest in this online infrastructure and sell these machines at auction, but all to online bidders. Correct.
Yeah, from the customer's doorstep.
Yeah.
You don't need a big yard. You don't need property.
Sure.
You don't need a big glass office. You send an inspector out. He looks at the machine, runs it through its paces, and then
take some shitty pictures.
Yeah, 4 corners in a cab, good to go. Just throw it up there and just see what people do.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, it revolutionized what Ritchie Brothers was doing. They were a strong company. I mean, they still are.
Oh, they're the 800-pound gorilla.
Yeah,
I mean, they're
the market leader
auction
through
company.
and through.
Yeah.
But it's funny because so in the hiring process, I interviewed with both Ritchie Brothers and Iron Planet. And this is a testament of you never know who you're going to meet. And, you got to be cordial. You got to be polite. There's no reason to be rude to people, whether you know them or not. And I interviewed with Ritchie Brothers and Iron Planet. And I called the guy back that I interviewed with Ritchie Brothers. And I told him, I said, hey, I really appreciate the opportunity, but I'm going to go with Iron Planet. Mm-hmm. It's the entire state. And as far as territory goes, like it was a lot bigger. And if they go public, like there's a lot of opportunity with that too.
Sure.
And he's like, well, hey, I appreciate that. Maybe we'll work together down the road. Oh, okay, cool. So 30 days later, the big announcement comes out and I call my manager and I said, hey, I'm the lowest guy in the totem pole. Mm-hmm. I was just hired here. And I said, I'm going to be the first guy out. And he's like, no, don't worry about it. He goes, they're going to leave everybody in their roles, where they're at, doing what they're doing for the time being, till they can kind of sort out what's going on with it. And that guy, he shortly left after the acquisition, and my new boss was the guy I interviewed with Ritchie Brothers.
Nice.
And I often wondered, you know, we'll work together down the road. Like, I think he probably knew this is going on.
Sure. So once you get over there, are you a sales rep for them? So
yeah.
So it's a little bit different. You're trying to convince people, sell them on selling their machines.
Yes.
Via auction.
Yeah.
Like, listen, you know, that 349 over there, nice machine, but you've got, you know, quite a few hours on it. It's now, let me tell you, the used equipment market couldn't be better right now. You're going to get top dollar for that thing. You can roll that money into the next model. It's going to be more efficient for you. Is that kind of the...
Yeah.
I'm just making this up.
No, but you'd be great as a consignor there.
Sure, yeah, I would be good. Yeah.
Yeah, so
we'll put some new yellow paint on it, make it look, put some lipstick on that pig.
They'll do
top dollar
overhaul.
Yeah.
You know, as long as it shows well in the photos, you're good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
rattle can rebuild.
Shit covers everything up. It's funny. Some of those there's machines that would come into the Ritchie yard and from like forestry companies and that, just, you know, single bar grousers on 336 or pipeline companies too.
They're the pipeline stuff goes through there all the time.
Just tracking through trees.
Yeah. And
not a straight piece of sheet metal on
yeah. Well, half the body panel's missing.
Yeah, if it's even there.
Yeah. No paint on the counterweight.
No. Yeah. They shouldn't have even painted it when it left. It was just going to rub everything.
Well, I've seen what's even worse is like if a machine has worked in saltwater, like the beach reclamation dozers when they go to auction.
Oh, I can't imagine what those look like.
I mean, you pick up the floor and it's just like, I mean, it just eats the metal. So it's
disintegrated.
It's just
like granddad's old pickup truck. Lift up the floor mat and there's a hole in the floor.
Yeah. It's like, hey, whoa, like, you better know what you're bidding on here.
Where's this been? No, it was incredible, the stuff that would go through. They had and I think they still do a lot of refurb, but they had a legit like paint shop refurb process.
No, people give them a lot of shit, but like I've toured the Orlando one. I mean, that's one of their golden gooses. Premier, but I mean, it's a legit shop. Like they are really turning and burning within that shop.
And there's customers that, you know, the Ritchie Brothers customers, but they will send their own equipment through the Ritchie Brothers paint shop. You know, if they're doing a rebuild on a D8, they'll send it through Ritchie Brothers to have them paint it up. And I mean, they do a good enough job that, you know, customers are sending their own personal equipment there that they aren't selling.
Yeah, I got you.
But yeah, so as a consignor, you go out and you try to you go door to door, basically cold calling people, anyone from a skid loader to a 100,000 pound excavator. Just talking to them like, hey, do you have any extra equipment you're looking to get rid of? You talk some market conditions, or if you see something that makes sense, and it's like, you know, mid-size wheel loaders are really strong right now.
Yeah.
So you got an L120 out back. It might be something. It'd be a good time to turn that. But once you build a customer base, like any type of sales job, and then reoccurring business, and hopefully, you know, they know, like, and trust you enough to start consigning bigger equipment, you know, higher dollar stuff. But I got into when I really started to see kind of the next level in the light there. It was a pipeline company in Wisconsin that I kept cold calling. They'd sell equipment through different auction avenues. They were a Ritchie Brothers customer, but a lot of the guys, it was such a trip for the corporate or the national account managers to get to, that a lot of them would just kind of phone call manage these guys. So I was driving by their yard, so I'd stop in anyways. And I got in with this one pipeline company, and they're like, oh yeah. And with Iron Planet, I'd be selling buckets, mulching heads, welding trailers, the smaller stuff. And after, there was like I don't know, 9-month introductory period kind of after the acquisition where we were still Iron Planet, but we were operating under Ritchie Brothers, that the equipment manager there is like, oh yeah, Ritchie Brothers, because the shop guy's like, hey, the guy from Ritchie Brothers here, is there anything that we're looking to send to auction? And I remember he's like, yeah, I've got a couple dozers and some equipment that I'm thinking about. I'll send the equipment list over. And I still remember I left their place, and 15 minutes later I get this email with an auction list, and there was like 20 D7s on the list.
Nice.
And I was just like shitting my pants. I'm like, oh, what did I do? I just stepped into something that I don't know much about. Like, I've never dealt with a package of this size.
Yeah.
And then I got in trouble too on the management side, because my sales manager's like, that they're a national account. Like, you've no right to be in there dealing with these guys.
Toes, yeah.
And I'm like, what? I was there. The guy had the equipment package. Yeah. Like, let's figure this out. And so then there's like internegotiations with, their group and then our group and how it all works out. There's a lot of stuff in the background that the customer doesn't need to see, because it just needs to be seamless for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, we sold, it was 20 D7s. They had the big angle blades on them. And we split it between Ritchie Brothers Live and then Iron Planet Virtual. And it all shook out about the same. They did about, comparatively speaking, they all brought about the same amount of money. But, man, I got a taste for that. And I started looking up all the national accounts.
Yeah.
And in my territory, and even up in Iron Mountain, there's a utility contractor up there. And they had like 30 bucket trucks they were looking to get rid of. Like, I found that next level of, sales position within the company.
Yeah.
Which helped me. I learned a lot very quickly, dealing with larger packages like that. It's kind of trial by fire, but working through it, very beneficial for you.
Those packages are pretty interesting every once in a while. You'll see sometimes some big ones for all different reasons. Sometimes it's a company going under.
Yep.
And they just got to get rid of a bunch of stuff, or
we call that complete dispersal.
Yeah. Yep. Or big pipeline job just wrapped up, and we're just got to get rid of a bunch of D7s and
fleet realignment.
Yeah, it's funny. Every once in a while you see like some site contractor running a 336 with single grouser pads on it, and you're like, I know exactly where you got that.
Came
from. Yeah, I know. I 100% know where you got that. Like, I mean, there was a contractor down the road. They were running single grouser track pads on pavement. It's like, I know what's happening here.
Yeah.
You guys got a good deal. Nice.
Yep. Don't swing that engine door open, because you don't know what it looks like inside. That was kind of another run-in with MTS, though, because CJ Moyna and Sons did kind of a fleet realignment deal where I can't remember the numbers of equipment. It was millions of dollars worth of equipment that came into the Medford site. And John is a very particular guy. And so everything looked, it was ridiculous. Like, you had 20,000 hour 740s that looked new. Like, straightened everything out, repainted them. He put his heart and soul into making sure that the equipment was in the best operating condition it could have been for the hours it was on it, and that it looked the same. It looked just as good as it ran. And so John sent a group of guys up to the auction a few days before, just kind of cruise around and answer any questions that anybody had about the equipment. And ran into MTS again there, some of the guys, and it had changed. There was new management. Justin was still part of the business. John, obviously. Tony Mesher was the sales manager at that time. He was kind of cruising around with the guys, and it was just kind of a fresh feel to MTS. And I want to say it was about 2 years before, so that was probably around 2018, 2019. But I was again reintroduced to MTS, and the new people that were kind of a part of it, which made it exciting.
Well, at that point too, when did they start? When did Mobile Track Solutions start officially?
2009.
2009. Okay, so a while ago. But when you originally looked at them too, there wasn't a lot going on. It's still a manufacturing business getting off the ground.
Yep.
With the timeline, CJ Moyna has been around for quite a while.
Yeah.
John's second generation?
John is third.
Third generation.
So 1946
is when it started.
Yeah. It's when John's grandfather
came home,
Cecil,
from World War II, and
so John's father Jack was World War II, but Cecil's the one that started the company.
Okay, so it was
Cecil, CJ Moyna and Sons was Cecil, and then John's dad and John's uncle, Jack and Jerry.
So they start earthmoving company probably to help out in the ag world.
Yep.
To start, yeah, it's
agricultural based.
Yeah, build
Northeast Iowa.
Yep.
So fixing fields, waterways.
Yep. Yeah, drainage, yeah, etc.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like earth moving powerhouse, but then John in the background is tinkering with better ways to do things.
Yes.
And originally comes up with the whole ejector concept.
Yes.
When was that? That was early 2000s?
Early 2000s. Yeah. Yep.
So the ejector trucks, like the ejector trailers, which the only time I've ever seen those with E.S. Wagner.
The ejector trucks?
The ejector trailers.
Oh, the wagons.
Yeah. With 8 tires on them.
Yeah, the 7460s.
Yeah. Like huge capacity. Just
45-ton wagons. Or 45-yard wagons.
Yeah. They're monsters.
Yep.
And then the ejector truck.
Yes.
With the 740.
Huge staple in the history there. Eject systems came about by, again, John inventing new things, trying to find better ways to move dirt.
For his company.
For CJ Moyna and Sons. Yep. Yeah. Ejector scraper, Eject Systems was the company, which was scrapers, discs, some other implements there. But yeah, he had the idea to put an ejector box on an articulated dump truck. Yeah. And today it's sold pretty heavily on safety factors and for evenly spread material. But in Northeast Iowa, you get into really sticky clays, compromised mucky materials that a traditional tipper truck, you dump out, you run it all day long. Half the day you're carrying back, partial of your load just because it's sticky, starts filling all the corners.
So that's why I did it for carryback originally?
Yeah, cleaning out the bed. So by an ejector, pushing it out, cleans the bed out, and then you're not carrying back a couple yards every round.
I didn't even think about carryback. So that's why I originally did. Yeah, so it's an articulated truck.
Yep.
With just like, if you imagine the plate at the end of the bed closest to the cab has a giant hydraulic cylinder behind it. So when it wants to dump, that hydraulic cylinder just pushes that plate across the entire bed. And as it's pushing it across, for people listening, it's just pushing the dirt out the back.
Yep.
So there's no lifting and low. Like there's no cylinders
tipping.
Yeah.
Dump to it. It's an ejecting dump.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Okay. For carryback. Yeah. But now it's definitely marketed for power lines, like for safety that way, for dumping on slopes. Yeah. Because then you don't have your center of gravity changing like wild. Because articulate trucks have never rolled over.
No, the beds have never tipped over before.
That's never happened. And then evenly spreading material like on haul roads or whatever it is. That's also, but but that's a more savvy application. I haven't seen that actually done very much.
The spreading it?
Yeah. The only time I've ever seen that was Kiewit with MSE. They were building monster MSE walls, and they were using those the eject trucks to spread rock over the straps.
Yeah. So spreading rock is one thing, but spreading your material in the fill, eliminates the need for a fill dozer a little bit more.
Yeah, you can just
but you're
run
still
a
getting
compactor.
big chunky equipment or big chunky chunks of dirt. But
so he built these products, made it into a viable company, and then sold it to Caterpillar.
Yes.
And then after that, starts tinkering again.
Yep. Yes.
There's a like articulated truck, like material in Midwest sucks. Everything gets stuck. So that's why pans are like the gold standard. But then he starts thinking maybe there's a better way for pans.
So it actually started with the power unit on the MTS side. He sold eject systems and the patents to Caterpillar, who then, like the TS 220s, 180s, they started building their own pull pans behind Challenger tractors. So it fit nicely with the Challenger brand that they had. But yeah, with that, the ejector truck patent and everything went along with it. But
they still make,
they still sell ejector trucks.
Yeah, sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
So then, MTS then kind of came around, and the focus was larger capacity scrapers and a power unit that can withstand the construction environment. So,
because at that point there were a lot of dozers pulling pans.
Yeah, especially in the Midwest.
That classic Macinich picture.
Yeah, that hangs up in the museum.
Yeah, with what are the D9s?
Yeah, there's like a dozen D9s sitting
around. All brand new D9s.
Sequential serial numbers too.
It's one of the cooler pictures.
It's very impressive.
Seen. Yeah. So they were like, that was one of the go-tos, was run a D9, D10. I've even seen 11s.
Yep.
Pulling
scrapers.
Yeah. But it's very expensive.
It's expensive. It's slow, but it is extremely consistent. And you can go through about anything with them too. And a lot of the guys today, there's still some fleets out there of D8s and 9s pulling scrapers, but the guys that are doing it, they have the cost per hour down to such a science. Like, they know it at this hour, this component's going to go out.
Sure.
Like, they can plan so far ahead for that.
Yeah.
And it's just like ants marching on. It's just constant cycles in second gear.
Well, and they keep them, and then they plan their cuts really diligently because you have to be really tight.
Yes.
Like, you don't want to be running across a site.
Short haul.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Undercarriage costs go through the roof. And again, speed. So that's where a tractor, a rubber tire, rubber tractor comes into play. You put a scraper behind a tractor that can go 15, 20 miles an hour. You can move a lot of material very quickly.
Sure.
So MTS evolved into the first one was a secret weapon, which was a D400, Caterpillar D400 articulated truck with tracks on it.
Which is at the museum, isn't it?
Yeah.
In the back?
Yeah, it's sitting out back. A relic.
Yeah.
But that was a secret weapon, and that was pulling eject scrapers. And then they continued to evolve into a 740 with tracks on it. By then, the gooseneck scraper was a thing that MTS was building. They had a 42-yard scraper, a monstrous scraper behind them. But yeah, the steel track systems on a 740, and then it evolved again into just a standard wheel truck, a 3-axle truck pulling scrapers.
That articulated truck with the metal tracks, there's a picture of that at some trade show or something like that. It's something somewhere.
John, they took that to Con Expo.
I think, it must have been Con Expo. It looks hilarious. It's
a crazy machine.
It's such a silly looking machine. And I think that's isn't that outside of the plant too?
Yes. Actually, there's two. It was called an MT 450. And it was the front half was the articulated truck.
Yeah.
Front. And then the back half was completely engineered by MTS.
Okay.
Steel tracks. 4 tracks on a truck. And there's 2 left in existence, and we own both of them. One of them is a yard dog. We we hook scrapers up. We test every new scraper that comes out goes through a rigorous test. And the one's a yard dog for that. And the other one, John put a lot of work back into and put it back into his fleet. He had a job he thought it'd be perfect for, but I think he quickly remembered maybe why he wasn't running them to the extent that they thought they could have been. But it's a very integral part of MTS, and it really drives necessity drives innovation in a lot of ways. And John, he had to find a better way to move dirt. He had to find a more reliable power unit to pull these scrapers. And so that's the thing he was trying to fix. But when you innovate, when you invent new things, you also fail a lot too. A lot of hard lessons are learned through the innovation, but you hope through the other side you come out successful and you prevail with a final product, which is what we strive to do every day at MTS. Working outside the box is what we do. And these awesome ideas that come out of John's brain are spurred by real life issues on CJ Moyna job sites and our customers' job sites.
I think that's what's so cool about it, is it's all been created to solve real world problems within an earth moving company.
Yes.
which is just, it's so rare, but it's the coolest damn thing. Like, as far as I'm concerned, he's the only manufacturer that's also moving dirt in the States.
Yes. In that world, there's some guys on the paving side that do that a little bit too. But from what I know and the people I know, I think John's about the only guy that's building his own earth moving equipment.
It's incredibly cool. And like when we were out there, so they started with that. The original was that older cat truck but it had rubber tracks.
Steel tracks.
It had steel tracks on that one too? Really? And then they do the more modern articulated truck, steel tracks.
Yep.
Eventually end up with the tractor that you guys have now today.
Yep.
With both tracks, quad track, and tires. You could do both.
Rubber tracks and wheels.
Rubber tracks and wheels.
Or tires. Yep.
Tires. But even when we were out with CJ Moyna a year or two ago, whatever it was, there was a prototype machine out at the job we went to being put through its paces. Like, is this going to work? I don't know. We'll find out. It's the coolest thing but it's they're building a job. Like, it's not
doing actual
behind
work.
The factory at the proving grounds. It's like, it's doing work, building stuff. And then based on how it performs, we're going to go take it back and tear it apart again and rework something else, put it back. Like, it's
over and send it back out.
It's just like the American dream in a nutshell. Like, that's it. I think it's one of the coolest things.
It is. And it's awesome to work for the company that gets to do that. Working with John, like, nothing's impossible. And you can't say that in a lot of different instances from a manufacturing standpoint, because there's so many checks and balances to work through to get to a concept or get to an idea. And that's a lot of what myself and the team back at MTS has been working on too, is to legitimize the manufacturing business. Not to be like a Caterpillar or a Komatsu or a John Deere, but to still keep our roots of us on the innovation, being able to quickly do things differently to solve problems. But also, like, hey, how are we going to keep making sure that this business is ran like an actual business too?
It can't be a constant proving ground. You still have to produce products that are reliable, that
last, that aren't just riddled in warranty claims for years. And the team at MTS has done a phenomenal job of monetizing that as a business, but you got to keep the John Moyna-esque side of it there too, which is what he does. Every CJ Moyna site is an R&D test site for MTS. There's not a job that you can go on that you won't find something that's kind of out of the box running that may or may not be working. But
it's so exciting to me too, because it's like I missed the golden era of innovation within this industry.
Oh, we all did.
And a lot of people would argue, no, we're innovating more today than ever. It's like, nah, I would disagree. I think it's been on emissions and technology, and but an excavator, it's the exact same design. I mean, damn near. Dozer, exact same. Scraper, truck, like they're all pretty damn similar. And it's one of the only worlds that I know of where I know a lot of contractors that much rather the old stuff over the new stuff. Like who in their right mind rathers like an old truck genuinely for productive type work now, like an old pickup truck over a new pickup truck? No one in their right mind. Like the new ones they're just a lot better, a lot more reliable, pretty phenomenal,
a lot more comfortable.
People would argue, but I don't see many big businesses running old trucks deliberately because it's best for their business. I know of a lot of companies in the industry running old scrapers, running old dozers, running old loaders, running old trucks, just rebuilding the hell out of stuff because they prefer the old stuff over the new stuff, which is crazy, but it's the same design. And in a lot of cases, it's more productive, which is pretty wild.
It comes back to reliability.
Because it's more reliable and available. Yeah. But anyway, what do I know? But we missed like the golden era, like the RG Letourneau days and the Bucyrus Erie days. And I mean,
because that was a lot
Marion day, like
it was a lot of just normal people just building their own equipment.
Yeah.
Just trying to fit a void in their business.
Yeah. And yeah, exactly. Solving problems. Yeah. And really truly innovating and creating these totally Holt best, back in the day. It's, there are just so many big, like, American industrialists that were really creating like the golden era of equipment and innovation. And then, it started to shake out. Everything started to consolidate a lot more. Everybody was buying everybody, becoming bigger, publicly traded, etc. And that innovation, it's really, and maybe like people would argue, it's like, well, we figured it out, so now it's just incremental.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like I don't necessarily subscribe to that.
No, I think it's more on kind of like what we were talking about at dinner last night. You get these conglomerates come together and they start buying up the smaller guys, and throughout the years of these brands just buying up different models, like a track loader, a wheel loader, an excavator, whatever it may be. And then it gets to a point where these corporations they can't innovate, they can't move fast because you now have a board that you have to ponder to. You have shareholders.
Yeah.
You can't move as quickly because you also have to, make sure that you're appeasing those people as well.
Well, and I think a lot of it is the quarterly earnings in the public company structure. Like, hey, we have an excavator. It works really well. Just make the next excavator. Just makes the next dozer.
Copy paste.
Just make the next truck. Like, we're good to go. Just do that. And I think like, this starts to wade into like more complicated waters, but my dumb opinion is that the manufacturers would be better off innovating on the equipment side and leaving the technology side to technology companies. But they're trying to innovate on the technology side and be technology companies, but they're not technology companies. And it's very obvious that they're not technology companies. Like their technology compared to legitimate technology companies, it's horrendous. Like compared to like my iPhone, even versus like, like my Ford entertainment system, I'm like, get this out of here. Like this is trash. Give me my Apple Play, my CarPlay, and thank God. Like
sync system's terrible.
This is so much better. Like stop trying to do that. Like you just make stuff. Like be really good at making stuff. That's very important. We're never gonna use technology to move dirt. Like you still need steel, moving dirt like that. It's still atoms.
Heavy equipment still there.
It will never be bit. It doesn't work. It's physics.
Mm-hmm.
Heavy equipment will always be there. Like, just do that, and then let the technology companies be the technology companies. You'd end up with a better result. But they're trying to do both, and it's like, why? Stop doing this. This is not working out for anybody.
Yeah, I think part of it, they think in-housing it is the most cost-efficient way to go about it. But I think in the end, they spend more money trying to figure it out than if they just contracted somebody.
They spend so much more
to put together this GPS system.
Yeah.
Or whatever it might be. And it's strange to me too, because it's some of the biggest, most expensive equipment out there, construction equipment, and it's some of the furthest behind in technology. Mm-hmm. I feel like the agriculture industry is light years ahead of construction. The auto industry, obviously, and it's huge markets there too. But it is something that baffles me a little bit when you look at the technology that's in construction versus the other industries. And I think you're right. I think it might be because they're trying to control that themselves and build it rather than contracting it out.
I think they are. Yeah, I think they want to keep their arms around it. But that, I've talked with people on the inside, and it's like they've expressed it very well. They're like, we're not really concerned with the other equipment manufacturers. We're concerned with like Billy, who's 25 years old right now, who comes up with some much better way of doing things in the garage and ends up just eating our lunch in different ways that we can't even imagine. Yeah. And it's like, no, that could never happen. Your balance sheet's too big. You're whatever it is. You've been around for 100 years or whatever. But it's like, I don't know. I mean, regardless of your opinions on Tesla, they've done it to the auto industry. Like,
absolutely.
I mean, again, you can say all day long how you don't believe in it, whatever it is, but like, they've eaten the auto industry's lunch in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Look at where they're at.
Yeah.
Look at Uber and the taxi industry.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's so many examples of that just kind of makes you ponder a little bit.
Yeah. But that's what's so, and it's exciting what MTS is doing too, because it's like, I feel like that's what is trying to be breathed back into the United States economy. And our like ethos is, listen, like we got here based on engineering and building things.
Yes.
That's why we're here. Like, we didn't get here because of financing and all these other industries out there that our economy has now become wholly dependent upon, healthcare and et cetera, these bloated worlds. Mm-hmm. We got here on making things and making better things than anybody else. And through American ingenuity and so on and so forth. Like, let's get back to that. Let's build stuff. Let's challenge things. Let's try new things. Let's innovate.
Yep. It's still being done in Elkader, Iowa.
That's still being done in Elkader, Iowa. Yeah. Of all places.
It's
the bustling metropolis that is Elkader, Iowa.
Absolutely. Go check it out sometime. Hey, September, the century of Caterpillar. Yes. Century celebration, we're calling it.
Yeah.
So MTS is based in Elkader. CJ Moyna and Sons based in Elkader. There is the Earthmoving Legacy Center, which is John's collection of antique Caterpillar equipment, and it shows the history. John's a big antique buff. He wants to preserve the history of Caterpillar and CJ Moyna and Sons, and he does that through the equipment. So CL Best, Holt coming together, taking their two tractors right where you walk in, combining them, and then walking through there, you can see kind of the evolution of those two companies coming together to create Caterpillar.
Yeah.
Very impressive. I don't think there's a collection out there that rivals what John has.
I don't think so.
Or what he does.
Yeah.
And so Caterpillar is 100 years old this year. Mm-hmm. And so in September, again, they're doing a Century of Caterpillar event in Elkader. There's gonna be thousands of people there. There's like an open air play that they're putting together. Alexander Botts. You read any Alexander Botts stories?
No.
So it was a fictional character, but he was a Caterpillar salesman, and he always got himself in these wacky situations. And by the end of the chapter, he's worked his way back out of it. But John's into that kind of stuff too. So there's a opera house there in Elkader. They're putting together a play.
Wow.
I think there'll be fireworks. There might fireworks or a drone show. I don't know. It's kind of last minute stuff sometimes with John when something cool comes in his brain and he's like, "We're gonna do that." And he's talking about fireworks, but then he said a drone show would be cool too. But
so first, there's the so there's CJ Moyna and the Earthmoving Company. Mm-hmm. There's Mobile Track Solutions building implements, scrapers, tractors for the earth-moving industry.
Equipment manufacturer. And then he has the third pillar that is the remarkable antique tractor collection that he has. Mm-hmm. And he has this museum, the Earth Mover Legacy Center. Yep, Earth-moving Legacy
Center in Elkader, Iowa, that anybody can go to. It's open every week. It has hours online. Open to the public. That is well worth the drive wherever you are in itself. It's, like you said, probably the finest collection of antique tractors. I don't know if he would say that.
He's too humble to say that, but truthfully,
it's probably, if not the finest collection of antique tractors, but the finest collection that anybody can go see, which is really cool, beautiful, and it's enormous. I mean, you could spend like a day looking at these tractors. There's so many of them.
Yeah, there's 84 indoors, and then there's like 4 rows out back.
Just hundreds out back.
Of tractors, and then there's even outbuildings that are just stuff full.
And then the event, September 12th through the 14th, is the Caterpillar 100th anniversary celebration, where they're going to have all kinds of stuff going on. And there'll be running equipment, and there'll be fireworks, like you said, and all kinds of stuff.
Yep.
And anybody's welcome to that.
Yeah. And this is being put on by the Earth Moving Legacy Center. So it's nothing in conjunction with Caterpillar, but it's simply John wanting to celebrate this milestone for the company.
Super cool.
But yeah, there'll be, antique equipment running on site. There'll be MTS equipment on display. There'll be new CAT equipment. John's getting one of the Century paint scheme tractors. I don't recall if it was a 6 or an 8, but hopefully that'll be on display there.
Sweet.
But yeah, it's just gonna be a lot of activity in town. There's a VIP reception Thursday, and again, you go on the centurycaterpillar.com for tickets and that, but there's a VIP reception Thursday, and then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday is just like an open air show where you walk around, check everything out.
I was looking at my calendar this morning. I think I'm gonna go from Australia to Elkader, Iowa.
You're gonna make the traverse.
Yeah,
there?
I'm gonna get in on Sunday, I think. Well, Saturday, so that I can see Sunday.
Okay.
The 14th.
Perfect.
Is because I don't want to miss it. It's really gonna be like we spent time at the museum, and it's what's so remarkable is not just the tractors they have there, but how much time, like we were saying at dinner, how many man hours have gone into the restoration of each one of these machines, down to the bolt.
Yes.
Like everything is identical to when that machine, I mean, the machine looked better than the first day it rolled out of the factory.
Yes.
In a lot of cases. Like,
yeah,
identical.
Better in the fact that, casting back then wasn't a
perfect science. Yeah.
As perfect as it is today.
Uh-huh.
That
paint.
John he'll have his guys. He's got devoted mechanics that just restore equipment, and they will sand down the casting smooth so it's like pristine. Makes new track pads for them. Thousands and thousands of hours. There's a diesel 70 that's going through. It's been like a 3-year process, and there was like 40 some built, and I think half of them were actually sold to customers, and the other half were R&D machines. But the engine that was in them, The crankshaft was a little off balance, and over time it would crack, it'd break. And so Caterpillar just kind of kiboshed the whole model. And to John's knowledge, there's zero in existence. And so he found one. He found an engine from somewhere else. Like he's Frankensteining together what he believes to be the only diesel 70 that would be left, like the only running, operating one out there.
That's amazing.
And and it's funny because he was really gung ho on getting that out to the 23 Con Expo, and everything is so intricate, even internally, like it has to be as original as it can be. They took the engine out, and the crank was actually broke in that engine that they bought, and so they had to pull that out, have a whole new one made from scratch, basically, just like everything else with the tractor. He's got a big 3D printing business that was basically, he got into 3D printing to make parts for the antique tractors, so we can make castings and different things. And it's just incredible how intricate everything is on the tractors.
Well, when we were there touring the shop, like they explained, I don't know if it was you or somebody else, but like the 3D printing, for example, they could have just used normal bolts that were just flat, and it would have been fine. No one would have known. But the original bolts had cat on them.
So it had a little a C. It had
or something. Yeah.
It had like 3 little letters on it. It wasn't cat, but it was just what denoted the bolt.
Okay. Yep. Yeah. So, but denoted the bolt. And so using the regular ones wasn't accurate.
Yeah. So you can't just use bolts off the shelf for something like this. It's got to be time period correct. And so each and every bolt, the head of it was milled down and left those letters in it just so it is
so
period
cool.
specific.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, then
it's almost a sickness. But I love it. It's super interesting.
So,
but when someone's is that passionate about something too, you got to appreciate that.
Yeah, and then like the highest level of it is that these machines run, and they'll run them. Like when we were out there, they had the 660.
Yeah. Yes.
Scraper.
Yep.
Just restored. And I don't even want to know how much money goes into something like that. I mean, it's a lot of coin. Yes. And it was perfect. It's a museum piece. You'd put it in the museum. It would never touch a grain of dirt ever again.
Yep.
Justin goes out there and throws it right in the field and just lets her rip, lets her eat.
Absolutely.
And
lifts
it's just
the front end off the ground.
Yeah, pass after pass, taking the paint off this freshly restored Caterpillar 660 scraper. And it's like, I will never see this again. This is so, like, I cannot believe this is in the dirt right now.
Yes.
But that's the coolest thing about it. And that's what's exciting about this September event is they put this stuff.
Put it right in the dirt.
In the dirt.
Yep. Yeah, so shout out to the MTS service department because they worked that 660 progress or project in with everything else going on. But a little teaser is there's now a 666 going through.
Wow. Yeah, I think we saw it.
So you saw it parked
up
in line, which I think originally it was kind of a parts machine.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you had a 660, which was the tractor and then the scraper. And then a 666 is the tractor, the scraper, and then the scraper is a self-propelled engine on it. So it's like it's one of the early, push-pull, well, not push-pull, but powered scrapers.
That is so
And that's in the shop right now.
Oh,
getting a complete rebuild. And I would assume the end date there is September for that too.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the cool thing. He's not afraid to run the stuff too. Because what's the fun of having something like that if you can't play around with it a little bit too?
Yeah, what's that little tractor that Caterpillar has that's outside of every dealer? Was that like 20?
Yeah, there's several different ones, but yeah, it's like a Cat 20.
Cat 20. So they, like, I mean, I've seen probably 100 of those, but it wasn't until when I was in Australia, of all places, we went to see Forest Track, and they have one, and he fired it up and was running it around, and I was like, this is the first time I've ever seen one running. Like, they're always just sitting. They're always painted museum piece, but they don't run. There's no way.
Yeah.
But it's like, this is running. And it took them a while to get it going because it's an old machine. And you gotta...
It takes a little bit of work.
You've got
a little bit of TLC to crank that sucker over.
Like massage it just the right way to, get it turning over. But once it was going, it was like, this is so... And it's just intoxicating because it's loud. It's just belching smoke. Like it's just clanking around. It's so aggressive, the whole thing. And nothing's refined about it.
Yeah.
But it's like, that's what's cool because everything is so refined nowadays. It's like, wow, this is...
Takes you back a little bit.
Yeah, it does. It really does. Yeah.
They do, they call it Earthworks training at the Legacy Center. And customers come in and it's just kind of a earth moving course basically, but one of the events they do is they've got a restored tractor, a small tractor, and they do like a little cones course with it, and then they do time trials, like how quickly can you go through it, and it's just cool to see that old equipment popping off and running. I'm excited. I want to go through that course too. I wouldn't know what half of it is, but no, you should.
I'd be fascinated to even just sit through it.
It's quickly taken off, and it's not promoted anywhere. It's just purely word of mouth. But these companies send people to it, and they'll send a few people, and next thing you know, they're sending groups of foremen and supervisors. I was on a job site. It's 2 weeks ago now, and I was with an operator. We're going around an articulated truck pulling a scraper, and he's like, hey, when's that next course there at your factory? And I said, well, what course are you talking about? And he said, well, my foreman went to that Earthworks training, and he goes, I want to go to that. That sounds pretty cool. And it's cool because it's not something we advertise, and here I am in Louisiana in a truck with an operator, and he knows about it.
Sure.
So it's very informative, and it's a good experience. But.
Yeah, it's earthwork. It's such an art form, and I see a lot of earthwork, but I rarely see it in like an artistic way. Like, and what I mean is like an operation that's just dialed in. Everything about it. Like there's not a second that you could squeeze out any. Like it is just maximum production and efficiency. That's a rare. It's rare.
Yes.
Like I can only think through recently a few examples, and sometimes it's the conditions. Like sometimes just the site sucks, or the equipment's not set up right, or the blasting's just been a nightmare. Weather comes in. Yeah, there's all kinds of factors, but there's a few operations I've seen. Every time I go out, I know I'm just gonna see like it's just gonna be a master class in earth moving. But it's in a way a lost art, I feel like, as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and I feel like, but he's one of those artists that he knows everything about the fundamentals of moving dirt and is just a master at it. And to see him teaching that, I think is really important, because I think a lot of that's been lost over the past few decades as the country even has just become more modern and built out and developed. Like those big earthwork jobs that were happening back in the day aren't as common anymore. Well, until recently, until they've
these mega sites
come back with a vengeance. But that's the problem, is you go to these sites and you're like, yo,
this could be done a little better.
What's going on here, guys? Yeah, and I'm not one to go say, hey, let's go to the whiteboard. Here's how to set this up. Like I'm a fucking monkey, but I know when things are set up right or not.
You can tell just by watching.
You can tell. Yeah.
The dance between say a push cat and a scraper, Like if you got a couple guys that really know what they're doing,
yeah,
it's a beautiful art to watch run.
That's a great watching a talented push cat operator and watching because the problem with scrapers is it's a skilled position, but it's not treated as such, and it's not hired for as such, and there's no training associated with it. It's just slam the cutting edge into the ground and just let her eat. But it's like, but there's a lot more to it than that.
Oh yeah.
And then the push cat is the same way. It's like I can watch a push cat operator and pretty quickly know if they've been around it a while or not.
Yep.
Based on what they're doing
for a while.
Yeah.
Yep.
Based on what they're doing, not even pushing, based on what they're doing when they're not pushing is when you really see it. When you can tell they're setting up the cut and they're setting up the next, the next line. The 5 scrapers are down dumping and dropping off their material, and he has 35 seconds in between the next one coming in, and he's setting things up right, and he's ripping real quick and knocking down this windrow and then backing in exactly where he wants the next scraper, which is like from a sequential standpoint, like exactly where you want him.
Coming in, sitting in there kind of cockeyed.
Yeah.
Like showing the scraper operator, here's your next cut.
Yep.
And sitting there cockeyed. So as that scraper pulls in front of him, all he has to do is turn and go forward.
And just, kind of like rolls into that.
Kisses the push block, fills the scraper. You pile 38 yards of dirt in about 20 seconds and pick up and go.
There's nothing cooler.
If you want to infuriate John Moyna, you have a D8, D9 in the cut, and he's over here just kind of willy-nilly cleaning up while their scraper's coming in, waiting. Just drives them nuts. Every push cat they have has a cushion pusher on it for 2 purposes. One, it's more efficient when loading. It's easier on the equipment.
Yeah.
But 2, it's so you can't be over here just kind of cleaning up way off to the side. You're planning your next push.
Well, I bet or if the push cat operator is sitting.
Yeah.
That
or if even worse, if a scraper is sitting waiting for the push cat.
Yeah.
Just you can't have that.
Yeah.
That's the efficiencies of a scraper. Like you constantly move. You move when you're loading, you move when you're hauling, you move when you're dumping, you move when you're returning back. But that's the efficiencies. That's why scrapers are, the most efficient way to move material out there.
Well, and that's where, like, especially with scrapers, like one of the most important things is the quality of the haul road. That can impact your production, unlike almost anything else going on there.
For sure.
And it's like sometimes you just see it. It's like an afterthought. Like, if we can get around to it, we'll clean up the haul road. And it's like that's like the game. Like the faster your scrapers can rip around and the more comfortable your operators can be, the better off you're going to be, the better off the whole thing works.
Yep.
But then you see other operations, it's like they've got a tractor pulling a box or a blade just nonstop, just running laps like the scrapers are, just dialing that road in.
Yep.
I've even seen it sometimes they'll lime the road or they'll put some mixed material into the road like to harden it up.
Compact it a bit.
Yeah. Yep. We need these haul roads buttoned up.
So how much, how far, how fast? How much material are you moving? How quickly are you moving it? How far are you going with it? And we have, we call them roller blades. We have a 12 and a 14 foot roller blade, which is a 12 or 14 foot box with a roller behind. You can ballast the roller so you get compaction while you're also cleaning up the road. But one of our reps did this beautiful graph and representation of an unmanaged haul road. The cycle was 10 minutes. So it took a tractor 10 minutes to do a full cycle.
Yeah.
After running, I think it was an MT12 around the job site. So just a box and a roller behind just a regular ag tractor. Cut over 3 minutes off of that cycle.
Wow.
So 3 minutes, 4 or 5 machines, period of an hour, period of a day. Within like 3 months, it had paid for itself.
Wow.
And, we sell a lot on production, on efficiencies. And that's the kind of real world stuff that truly just backs up the MTS equipment and how it works and how it benefits the customer.
Mm-hmm.
So, and additionally, we talk about operators. We know it's tough to get qualified people. You can put throw a new operator in a tractor pulling a disc or a sheep's foot roller or a box blade, and take that experienced guy with the motor grader and put him somewhere else,
mm-hmm.
or the guy with the finish dozer, put him somewhere else.
Sure.
Utilize that person.
Yeah.
But then the cost to a tractor, the same power unit pulling 3 different implements, there's a lot of value with that too, just in the cost of operation,
mm-hmm.
Versus a grader that all it can do is blade the road.
Yeah. Yeah. It's also too, it's like, it's not just an efficiency thing, but I don't think anybody wants to get bounced around all day.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 12 hours in a 631, just getting banged around, or an articulated truck or a tractor, whatever it is,
mm-hmm.
just bouncing up. I mean, it is harsh.
And the wear and tear on the equipment too.
Yeah, and the machine.
Is
operator
is
and
equally
machine.
as detrimental to the success of the job.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're tearing stuff up all the time, and it's just like, but I see it all the time, like just the haul road thing even.
Yep.
And I just sit there. I'm just a guy in the fucking stands. I'm like, I'm not in the game, man. I'm not here to tell you how to run your job. But
mm-hmm.
yeah, when I don't see.
Next time you see that, give me a call and we'll just drop off a rollerblade. And,
you guys would be making them full time. like you have to convert the factory just to those.
Just to those, absolutely.
It's all over, especially east of the Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
As you've probably seen.
Yes.
And it's sometimes not their fault. Like sometimes the material just sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of that's unavoidable, but then too, it's about planning the proper haul road too.
Mm-hmm.
What makes sense.
But that's where I've seen, again, people think outside the box. Like, listen, if we're going to be on this road for a while, let's spend the $50,000, $100,000 to
mm-hmm.
get this limed, to get this dialed in, so that we can run it like a highway instead of just dealing with shit for 3 months.
Yep.
And that kind of thinking, it's like, ooh, that's nice. That's
infrastructure.
That's good thinking.
Infrastructure
like
while building infrastructure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's the kind of stuff I like. That's the creative problem solving I enjoy to see.
It also shows the quality of a contractor too,
mm-hmm.
if they plan out to that level.
Yep.
Some guys will just work and work and work to fight it, when, hey, you put a little extra money into this, and then it's taken care of, and then you can move about doing what you need to do.
Yeah. It's like, even on the mega project stuff right now, it's just interesting to see, because even just the skill set of, like, in the operators, like, people just haven't been on a monster job like that.
Mm-hmm.
Probably in their career. Like, that used to be more the norm when we were building the interstate system. Like, you'd have a 20 million yards out of a cut. Great. 15 million, 10 million, 5 million, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
But that, like, a million yard job until 2020, like, million yard job, that's a
monster.
That's a monster.
Yep.
And then like, within a 2-3 year period, 10 million, 15 million, 20 million, 25 million, 30 million. Like, it's
popping
like
up everywhere.
Yeah. It's like, what is going on? And it's just like,
mm-hmm.
the industry doesn't even have the depth of knowledge. I feel like, even if you have a great super, or you have a great estimator, you have a great whoever's orchestrating it, just like the depth of knowledge, even from an operator standpoint. Like, that's why scrapers have kind of gone away.
Mm-hmm.
Not because the scraper doesn't work anymore. It's just like, even you see this, you do this all the time. You just said you were in a scraper truck the other day. Like, it's a skilled position that requires a certain degree of training to be effective at it.
Yes.
But if you just throw someone in the truck, if you just throw someone in the tractor with a scraper, or a truck with a scraper, and assume because they can drive a truck and a scraper, it doesn't
mm-hmm.
work that way.
So part of what separates the MTS sales department, we're not just salesmen going out there and pushing new iron. We're guys that have experience in the equipment. We know how to properly run it, and to ensure that our customers are successful with it, our sales team goes out and we do operator training for our customers. So we all spend a lot of time in the equipment. And before I got into the sales management role, week after week, it was out going on new equipment deliveries, rental startups for dealers, and getting in the equipment and showing people how to run it. And so many times you'd get in, it's the production piece on the job. A lot of times it's one of the most expensive pieces on the job. And you get in and the guy's like, yeah, I've ran a skid loader before.
Sure.
Or, I ran an articulated truck. And it's just bizarre to me that they take, people that really don't have experience and put them in the machines that are truly hauling the material that's paying for the job.
And driving the whole schedule.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. The success of it is on their backs.
Uh-huh.
And the nice part about tractors and scrapers is it's a lot easier to train somebody to operate a tractor than it is like a wheel tractor scraper.
Sure.
The skill level doesn't need to be there. The guys can catch on pretty quickly. I can take an operator that at least can drive a tractor, and within an hour I can have them fully loading the scraper, cutting down on cycle times, managing the fill with the scraper. Like it's a pretty quick onboarding there.
Yeah.
But again, a lot of companies don't put in the time to do that, or they'll take an operator that knows how to run a tractor and scraper, but don't know anything about earth moving. And, I was on a job here recently and they did a meeting in the cut and a meeting in the fill. And the meeting in the cut was, so I'm going to push up windrows. This is the guy in the push cat.
Yeah.
I'm going to push up windrows, and that's where I want you to start cutting. And I want you to cut a couple inches or thinly all the way through to the end.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the meeting in the fill, they said, okay, so the guy in the fill dozer says, I need 4 inches of fill all the way across here.
Sure.
Each lift is going to be 4 inches. And so I got in with an operator, and he started cutting before the windrow and took a big chunk, took off, went over in the fill, and scraper sky high, dumped the material.
Yeah.
Didn't spread it, didn't do anything. And I said, well, he said, how did I do? And I said, well, you did a great job, like getting a full load, but everything else you did terrible at.
Mm-hmm.
And, I had to explain to him a little bit, you have to cut. So you guys are cutting the clay. You get too deep, you get into the sand. The sand can't go in the fill. The sand's got to go in a different area. So you got to cut thin, because if you cut too deep and you get into the sand, now that material can't be processed in the fill.
Sure.
Oh, that makes sense. And we get over in the fill, and I said, when you get to the fill, pick your cutting edge just a little bit off the ground, open your apron, push the material out, but as you're pushing it out, drag it along so you're evenly laying the material, because they got to do the 4-inch lifts and then they have to test it. Mm-hmm. And if the guy in the fill is spending more time pushing your material back and forth or spreading it out, it's going to take longer. It's going to make extra work for him, and that's going to take longer to process the material.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense. Like the guy had no understanding of why.
Well, it's not his fault.
No one told him.
Yeah.
He spent a couple days with an operator, and this is how you put the tractor in gear. This is how you load the scraper. This is how you unload the scraper. They taught him on that level, but there wasn't much for the fundamentals of earth moving.
Well, and to them, like, the priority is just get it full as quickly as possible. Mm-hmm. Whatever I have to do. If I get it full quick, I'm good. Like, no matter if I'm gouging or whatever.
No one's going to say anything.
Yeah, I'm full good.
Full bowl.
And then empty, fast,
yep.
Good. Like, but because you just don't know any better. Like, you think that's the standard. And everybody's talking about, yeah, you got to be quick, got to be quick, got to be quick. All right, I better just fill this thing up as fast as possible, dump it as fast as possible.
Yep.
Because you don't understand the fundamentals. Even just like what you said about meeting with everybody in the cut and the fill. Like, that might take 30 minutes, an hour to get everybody organized, especially on a big site. But I don't ever see that.
Yeah.
Just the basics of what's happening explained.
Mm-hmm.
They just assume that everybody understands, and then everybody's all pissed off, or the pushcat operator is just like ready to murder somebody.
Yeah.
because these guys keep screwing up his cut.
Yep.
Or the dozer operator in the fill is just like,
yeah, the guy in the fill dozer
like
on the
praying, Lord help me,
on the radio over and over again, telling these people what to do, and just, you know, it not happening.
Yeah, but that's like, people don't intentionally do a shitty job. Like, there are people that just suck. Yeah, but that's the minority. Like, I feel like
everyone wants to do a good job.
Everybody wants to do a good job. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and so they're not intentionally screwing everything up. They just don't know any better. And like I said, like, they've never been around that kind of site before. They've never been around those kind of quantities before, or whatever it is. Like, they just don't know any better.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really simple principles that are not always being taught.
Yes. Beyond
just operating the machine, which is interesting.
You had a post a while back. I don't remember where it was. But they had models, toys.
Yeah.
Like showing the fundamentals.
Yes.
Which from the outside in seems silly, but when you really think about it, like, that makes total sense.
Makes perfect sense.
One of my guys, he's been pushing hard. He wants a 3D printed tractor and pushcat so he can like demonstrate. And again, out the gate, I'm like, yeah, it just seems kind of silly. But when you get in with some of these operators and you start to get on their level, it's like, oh, you don't understand why that guy's pushing you.
Yeah.
You also don't understand why you can't stop. If you stop, bang, this happens.
Sure.
Hard on the equipment. Everyone gets jostled. Everyone gets pissed off.
Yeah.
You know, okay, you're loading, and then here comes this nice and easy, kisses you, and you start loading the scraper.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's great. I think it's cool that companies will do that.
Models, what I've seen, like, if you go to the next level, I've seen companies, not many, but companies 3D print jobs.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be sweet.
They'll 3D print a model of the job and what they're building.
Mm-hmm.
And so they can show everybody, here is what we're doing and why, and educate everybody on what they're actually building.
Yeah.
And it's like, I heard that. That's one of the more clever things I've heard in a while.
It makes sense.
Makes perfect sense. But even there was another company. It was like, yeah, this operation was just a mess. Like, we just weren't hitting our numbers. And then what we did was we stopped everybody. We gathered everybody around a whiteboard, and we just drew it out and explained exactly what was going on and why it was going on. And what happened after that was we started producing a lot better. And it's like, go figure.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. Like, yes, it's
knowledge
that simple.
Is power.
Yeah, or when we're at Knife River's training facility, they even train their foremen, their crew leaders on like using the car wash wax pens on their pickup truck window. If you don't have a whiteboard, just draw it out on the window of your pickup truck.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, and then you can just wipe it off. But here's how you can visually articulate it and show some things as far as what's going on here. And it's like, that's brilliant. Like that, damn. Like,
yep.
I go to all these meetings in the morning, and it's all about policies, safety, wear your seatbelt, stay off your phone. You know,
keep your safety glasses.
Keep your safety glasses on. Make sure you do your walk around. Submit everything to, hey, we heard back from the shop. You guys aren't submitting. You know. I could spend 6 hours reciting all the normal shit I hear.
Yep.
So rare is it also about what's going on today and why, and who's doing what and why, and how we performed yesterday and how we need to perform today and what's going to be happening tomorrow or next week that we need to be considering. Like, there's not that level of communication, but it's not complicated communication. But if that were happening, you'd get everybody together on the same team, and I feel like things would work better. Yeah.
Yeah. If every operator was a foreman, it'd be fine. Like, hey, we're cutting over there and we're filling over there, and we're going to do it till the material color changes, and let's go get at it.
Yeah.
Like, if everyone understood the what and the why, it'd be a lot easier, but that's not the case. It's like, hey, we've got to move, 10,000 BCY today, so let's go do that. How are we going to do that?
How? But why 10,000? Like, what's our schedule look like?
Yep.
Why does the schedule look that way? Like, even that context, like, listen, the schedule's been designed this because they need to start lime treating the building pad on this date to then get the foundation guys in here or whatever it is to then, to keep on track, to then
the timelines of it.
Yeah. Yep. So, we're at the front, and that's why this is so important, because if we're behind, now everybody else is behind because we're the ones putting the site together. And it's just like,
yep,
inviting people into the process as far as like what you're doing and why.
Yeah. It goes back to the earthworks training that John's doing. A big thing for him lately is scoreboards. Without knowing if you're winning or losing, how do you really know what's going on?
Yeah.
Are you succeeding? Are you failing? How did we do yesterday? What do we need to do differently today to make sure that we're better? Which is really important stuff that, again, I don't think people really focus on. But and a lot of it, I think, used to be just taken as common sense. But again, a lot of the farm kids, the people that came from like a working background, they're not there.
Sure.
So you're taking people out of different industries that don't really understand the stuff and just expecting them to know why we're moving dirt today.
Well, therein lies the problem. I think they're assuming it's common sense. It's not common sense. It's like, and how can something be common sense when I've never been around it, when I've never seen it, when I've never learned it? Like, how is that common sense? I get it's common sense to you. Congratulations. Like, you're smarter, you're better, you've worked harder. Your dad was this, crotchety asshole that threw wrenches at you, so you had to learn everything quickly. Like, I get it. Yeah. I understood.
Yep.
I wasn't in that world, so I'm just precluded from this world. And it's like, how long does that last? So you're just going to find people that to you is common sense. And it's like, common sense is also somewhat arbitrary. Like, to you, common sense is different than my common sense. Like, that's what's ironic about common sense. Is like, well, it's not common. Yes. Like, you think it's common anymore. No, but it's not. Like, even if you go to like religious principles, like over here within this religion, there's common sense and a common set of rules. You go to this religion with this billion people, different rule set. There might be some overlap, but
it's still common to each group, but
still common.
But completely black and white from the outside.
Yeah. And just assuming, like, that's one of the biggest mistakes I make as a leader consistently is I assume people understand simple information. That is not the case. And that doesn't mean they're stupid. That doesn't mean they don't get it. I need to give them the information, and I need to give it to them many times over. Like, you had the example of the guy was at the morning meeting. He was in the cut. He was in the fill. He still did it wrong. Still needed additional context.
Just need to be told again.
Doesn't make him stupid. And it's like, okay, well, what's our option? We're just going to call him an idiot and run him off the job. Great.
Can't do that.
Now we get another guy who's completely like has no skill set. Now we're starting over. Like,
yep.
How does that benefit anybody? How do I win there? How's that in anybody's best interest?
Yeah.
But that's the easy thing to do. Oh, they're just an idiot.
Communication, it's tough, and I'm not the best at it sometimes, but man, you gotta over communicate as much as you can. And there's a lot of times, they always say, no question, or the only dumb question is a question unasked. A lot of times, assuming that people already know something and then not reiterating it or telling them again is just as bad as not asking the question by not telling them. Because the worst they can tell you is, quit telling me that. I understand. I know. I get it.
Yeah.
But a lot of times they don't. So it's informative.
One, especially as an entry-level operator, I'm not asking questions. There's no fucking way I'm asking questions. I just want to get in my tractor and go to work to prove myself. I know what I'm doing.
especially as a young male. Like,
oh, absolutely.
Dude,
I'm not showing any of these guys here that I may not understand what the fill is.
Not a chance.
Yeah.
And there is a certain degree of value in that because that's how a lot of people have learned to operate. You get in it, you got to push the buttons, wiggle the sticks, press the pedals, and figure out what stuff does. I get it.
Yep.
I get it. That's part of it. But one, just assuming people are going to ask about stuff they don't understand is a terrible assumption. And then two, if people are asking quote unquote dumb questions, that doesn't mean they're dumb. That means I'm dumb. That means I haven't given them the right information, or I haven't taught it to them in a way that they understand, or there's something that I'm doing from a leadership standpoint that's missing here.
Sure.
Like it's so easy to blame them. But again, that just yields the same, if not a worse result. It's still on me. Like, man, they just asked this very simple question. That shit, they don't get it. And I explained it very clearly, or I thought I explained it clearly.
You thought you did. It was clear to you.
It was clear to me.
Yep.
And I thought it was clear, and it might have been clear, but they still don't understand it. Cool. All right. I have more work to do here because I need them to understand this.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's part of growing as a leader too.
Yeah.
Understanding your people, and just trying to figure out how you can do better so they can be successful in their roles too.
But I feel like that's the best guys in the industry is the guys like John. Like, John has expectations. He doesn't want the scraper sitting, and he will let you know, I'm sure.
Yes.
However, he's probably always looking for opportunities to teach, and teaching nonstop. And like what you said, like he's doing earth moving classes.
Yep.
Just because he doesn't have to.
No.
He has much better things to do, like probably 100 better things to do.
Absolutely.
Than teach people who could even be competitors how to move dirt better.
Yes.
But he just believes in teaching. And that's like the best superintendents I've seen, especially on those big production spreads. They're always teaching. They're pouring into people nonstop, even if it's different than how they were taught, which I think is the coolest thing in the world. Like it is so cool to watch a seasoned superintendent, seasoned operator, like pull a team together and pour into these younger people and teach people even the most basic shit that's technically way beneath them and technically not what they should be focused on. But sometimes, like, it's like the John Wooden teaching people to put their damn socks on the right way. Like, sometimes you do have to just teach people the simplest shit, because that's where it all starts.
Yeah. Back to the basics.
Yep. Yeah.
There was I was on this project in California with Kiewit, and the foreman out there, laid back guy, and he wore like Hawaiian shirts, and he was never afraid to like break things down for people in the simplest of forms. I rode around with him for half a day and really got a good understanding of how the job site worked, because he talked to me like I didn't know anything, because in the moment I really didn't. I didn't understand what was going on at the job and why you're building these causeways and why you're moving material here but not over there. And it shows in a true leader, and that's why that guy was so successful too, and why everyone looked up to him, and why he also had the confidence to walk around the job site in a hard hat and a Hawaiian shirt.
I like
too.
that.
You know, hamburger hanging out, just cool dude.
But it also takes two to tango too, because I try really hard not to show up to a project and assume I know what's going on based on prior experience, because a lot of the times I'm right, but a lot of the times I'm wrong. And so I always prefer to ask.
Yes.
Instead of, your excavator set up wrong here. Why is your excavator set up this way? This isn't common. Why is it set up this way? 9 times out of 10, they have a really good response. Oh, it's because XYZ. I'm like, that makes
sense.
Perfect sense. I totally understand now.
Yep.
And I try, like, but it's so easy to fall into the trap of like, guy, they set their excavator up the wrong way. Well, why is their machine set up like this? Like what?
Yeah.
What are they doing?
They're loading trucks backwards.
Yeah, they're loading their bench heights out of control, or their floor's a mess, or whatever it is. Yeah. He's loading over the. He's
swinging over the cab.
Yeah,
what's this guy doing?
Yeah, whatever it is. Or they're top loading. Well, they should be on a bench. You know, like damn it, they're backing in. Like, why are they backing in?
Yep.
But almost every time there's a really good answer for it. And instead of like default to criticism, default to asking the question or going in with that curiosity, like why is it this way? Mm-hmm. You get to learn a lot as a result.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't be ignorant to the fact. You can't be unassuming, but that's how you learn stuff too.
And that is the most potent weapon against crotchety assholes. It works like a charm. Talk to them about what the hell they're doing, and ask them why they're doing things, and show genuine curiosity in what they're doing and why, and what they've done in their career, etc. Yeah. That is like the antidote.
You get those guys to open up, and it's such a world of learning. Everything that they've been through.
Those guys, those are the
They're
ones.
They're some of the hardest nuts to crack, though, too.
Yeah, but it's like, I don't think if I approach them with a genuine sense of curiosity, I don't think I've ever had a true negative response. Mm-hmm. If I'm genuinely like, I really want to understand what they know and why they know it. Yeah,
I would agree with that.
Yep. Even at first, like I've had some experiences where, I mean, there was one. We go out. I might have told a story in the past. Like, it's my first time in Saudi Arabia. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I packed a bag. I went out to Saudi Arabia. There's no schedule. There's no nothing. I get told, the day before, hey, we're going to pick you up at this time, or you're going to the airport. You have to fly out at this time. And then it's just like a question mark. So, wow. It just give up total control over everything and just do whatever I'm told. Mm-hmm. So we go out, we drive like 6 hours into the middle of the fucking desert, just middle of nowhere. And it's not like driving through West Texas. Like there's still some stuff in West Texas. There's nothing. There is barren. You better get fuel because there is just nothing going on out here. Yeah. And I'm with this guy. He doesn't speak English that great. I don't speak a lick of Arabic. So there's no talking. So you're 6 hour car ride. You're just sitting there staring at, sand, the desert. Sand. and you don't know how long the car ride's going to be. Yeah. You don't know it's going to be 6 hours. You don't know what's at the other end of the car ride. You don't know anything. Like it's just,
dude, I'd have a tough time with that.
You sit there until you show up somewhere. So we show up somewhere. We're at this gold mine. We go through security. He's like, do you have your passport? I give him my passport. He hands it to security. And then we drive into the mine. And I freak out a little bit. I'm like, fuck, they have my passport. Like,
oh man,
I need that.
I need that to get home.
That's important. Like that is the one thing I cannot do without. And they just took it. So I'm kind of freaking out a little bit. But we go through big fences, razor wire, gold mine, massive complex, middle of nowhere. Mm-hmm. We drive over to the shop. We're in the shop. They've got like 777s in the shop. People everywhere working away on all kinds of stuff. Typical shop. Yep. And we go in and he's like, hey, go talk to the equipment manager and tell him we're here. I go into the equipment manager's office. It's this British guy. So I'm like, great. He speaks English. Yeah. Awesome. Common tongue. This will be easy. And he just looks at me. He's like, who the fuck are you? And I'm like, I'm, with so-and-so. I was told we were meeting you. We're here to photograph some equipment out in the pit. He's like, I don't have fucking time for this today. you guys have to come back another time. And I'm sitting there. I'm like, I just walk out of the office because I'm like, fuck, all right, you told me to go fuck off. Yeah. So I walk out of the office back into the shop, and it took me a moment to collect myself again. I'm like, I'm halfway around the world. I'm in the middle of fucking nowhere. Mm-hmm. I have a job to do.
Came all the way here to see this.
I came all the way here to see these damn machines. I'm not getting back in the car and just like leaving. Like, no, that's not. We're not doing that. So I collect myself again. I'm not great with conflict. Sure. But I go back in. I'm like, hey, can we figure this out? I try to talk myself into it. He's like, all right, give me 15 minutes. Like, he's just not stoked at all, just
Not
pissed
having it.
off. And I'm like, great, this is going to be great.
Yep.
So we finally get in the truck with him and start driving around the mine. He's pissed off, doesn't want to do this, has better things to do. His day's going to shit. He probably has his boss up his ass. You know, he's like 100 different things.
Who knows what that dude's into that day?
But I just start like just massaging the questions here, there, everywhere as we're touring around, so on and so forth.
Yep.
We get the best damn tour imaginable. He's answering every question. He's being super, super understanding, very, very helpful. I learned so much about their equipment and what the heck they're doing and why they're doing it. It was fantastic.
So by speaking with the guy, asking him questions, he started opening
Just
up to
showing
you, basically.
100% interest in him, what he was doing there and why.
Yep.
And I also think because I was a native English speaker, like it was a little bit easier that way too. Like,
Yeah.
to even just
Not so much of a barrier
Yeah,
of
to
trying to explain
well, and when
what
you're
they
with
are
people
doing.
that aren't native English speakers, like, I've been in foreign countries where you don't see another American for a week,
Mhm.
which is, at the first time that happened, it's like, this is the first week I've gone without seeing another American in my life.
Bizarre.
Right. Which is just like,
Yeah.
it's odd. It's a little odd.
Yep.
And then you come across another American, you could have nothing in common with them, but because you're also in a foreign place
Yeah.
and they're an American, they're your best friend. Like, it's like,
Hey,
so
you ever been to Florida?
yeah.
Oh,
like, oh,
yeah.
you're from Pennsylvania. I love Pennsylvania. It's like, I don't love Pennsylvania, but it's like you're sitting there like, man, this guy's great. Like,
Yeah.
I love this guy.
We're common folk now.
Yeah.
Yep.
We have so much in common. we're
Best buds
we're
now.
part of the same 330 million population.
Yep.
and we only live,
It's
800 miles apart.
It's so funny. We were at a bar last night, and there was a table of people, and the guy was wearing a Hawkeye hat, and I'm like, wonder if we know that guy.
Uh-huh.
It's like, well, it's the state of Iowa. It's huge. Well, it's not huge, but one guy that you see in a bar in Tennessee that's wearing a hat from the state that you come from, but you just assume like, I probably know that person.
That's a better example is sports. Yeah.
Yeah.
If somebody has on, or like your school t-shirt,
Mhm.
like, bro, Arizona State, like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah. It's like, oh, go Cards. Sure.
yeah.
Like, I don't know. What year did you graduate? I was gone 20 years since you've been there. No, it's cool. The people though is what really makes the job enjoyable. Getting to meet new people, understanding their problems, helping them overcome the problems they may have on a site. But some of the realest people, again, kind of like how we started the conversation, like you can trust a handshake, and in the same sense, like you can relate to people and understand what they're doing through the dirt work, which is a pretty cool thing.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Well, I'm huge CJ Moyna fan, huge Mobile Track Solutions fan.
Yeah.
You guys deal through quite a few cat dealers
Yeah.
at this point?
Yeah, so we have 24 Caterpillar dealers
Yeah.
that sell and support MTS equipment.
Super.
So around the U.S. And then also William Adams in Australia.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're a contractor-based manufacturer. So we manufacture equipment that that contractors have invented to, provide a solution for their job sites.
Sure.
Real world applications, tractors, scrapers, implements. Everything's focused on construction grade. It's not just an ag tractor.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tractor that's been engineered for pulling scrapers on construction sites.
Yeah.
It's a lot more demanding than a manicured farm field. Going 5 miles an hour all day long. Now you're going down a bumpy haul road at 15 with 100,000 pounds of dirt behind you.
In mud or something. Yeah.
But
excellent. And then there's the Earthmoving Legacy Center, Elkader, Iowa.
Yep.
Open to people. There's hours online.
Open for visitors. You can come check the place out. I think they're also open on the weekend, which is good. So people coming through town can come check it out on a weekend as well. But yeah, you got to check the website for the actual hours.
Yeah. It's like Elkader's like major crossroads. So as you're probably driving through at some point. So yeah.
At least several times in your life, you're just going to have to drive through Elkader.
Yeah. It's like, all roads lead to Rome.
It is about 2 hours from an hour and a half from the nearest airport, which makes it tough. But the people that do come there intentionally are there.
Yeah, it's well worth the trip. It's a great little town.
Yeah,
I was very pleased with the little town. We slept in the parking lot of the.
Yeah, you guys slept in the camper behind the museum there,
which is great. And then the event, the 100-year event, September 12th through the 14th.
Yes.
And what's the website for that?
It's thecenturyofcaterpillar.com.
The Century of Caterpillar. I just went to it this morning. It's like, wow, they have a whole website and everything. This is great.
Yeah, and you can buy tickets online.
Sweet.
For that, there's different ticket packages. So yeah, check that out. There's a whole family of companies in that whole deal. But, it's a cool experience. The brand is a fun one to work for. Again, it's great to work for a guy like John Moyna that gives you free reign on innovation and is open-minded to any sort of new way of moving material.
Sure. Right on. Well, thanks for coming by.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Great dinner last night.
Yeah, it's a good spot.
It's a good spot.
Yeah. Right on.
Okay, cool.